Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm finally getting around to doing this video that I promised you. If this is an off-shoulder top and if it keeps riding up and becomes a full top, ignore. So let's just go ahead and get started because I have a lot to share with you guys, and I really hope that at the end of this video you'll come out of it feeling empowered and kind of knowing I just want to point you in the right direction. So I'm going to be sharing with you my experiences, what I've learned along the way, my truth basically, not the gospel truth. And I'm going to try and be as honest as I possibly can with you guys. We can all win on this space. We can truly all win. So I have written notes down, but the first thing I want to say is that this here, what I do, YouTube, social media, it's not easy, because ever since I did the video on how I quit my 9-to-5, I have gotten so many messages of people saying, hey, seems easy enough, how do I get started and how do I start making money? It's not gonna work for you. If you come onto this space, do I have something in my teeth? If you come into this space with your main aim being to make money, you're going to fail. Like, I kid you not, because it's a process. It takes time. I didn't see a shilling from this until 8 months into it. So if money was my driving force, my main driving force, then I would have left long ago. A long time ago I would have left, because months of doing so much and getting nothing out of it is discouraging. So you have to have other reasons for doing this. So for those people who you've not even started a channel and you're already asking me how to make money from it, you're going to have a hard time. You have to come on with the aim of, I don't know, sharing your story, impacting people's lives, adding value to people's lives. Money can definitely be one of the long-term goals for you, but if you come on with it being the main aim in mind, then you're going to have a hard time. Let me just put that out there. So I think that when it comes to brand collaborations, it's all about what you're offering a brand. It's all about what you're offering a brand. What? It's all about what you're offering a brand. There's this term influencer. You guys have probably heard it. An influencer is basically someone who influences people. So when they recommend something to someone, or someone sees them using something, then they feel that they want to have that thing, or they feel assured that that thing is good enough to use if this person is using it. So if you want to collaborate with brands, then you have to have influence, definitely. And one of the ways that you can have influence, especially if you're just starting out, is to establish yourself as an expert in a certain niche. So for me, that was makeup, beauty. It just makes it so much easier when you've established yourself in a certain niche for you to have influence. So everyone knows me as, you know, someone who does makeup, so they see that it's a skill I have, I'm good at it, I'm passionate about it. So when I sit here and recommend to you to buy a certain lipstick or a certain eyeshadow palette, then you listen, because in your mind, I'm good at this, I know what I'm talking about. So if I came onto this space and I just did a little bit of everything, didn't really establish myself as being passionate or being really good at one thing, then if I told you to buy something or something was good, then you wouldn't listen to me as much. I hope that makes sense. So I think later on you can definitely branch out. I don't just do beauty anymore, and I've been doing some fashion here and there. I do lifestyle through the vlog, so you can branch out. But when you're beginning, I highly suggest you build a following based on a certain niche that you're really good at. So if it's fashion, do fashion related content, hone in on that, you know, such that when you recommend something fashion related, people listen, because to them that's your thing, you know. Like, it's like if you're an entrepreneur, you take advice from entrepreneurs. You're not going to go to I don't know, someone who's been in employment all their life for advice on entrepreneurship. If you want to start cooking, you'll go to someone who is established in that field, you know, to get cooking advice. You're not going to go to someone who has never cooked a day in their life, or cooks once in a while, but it's not really what they do. I hope that makes sense. So the next thing when it comes to influence is having a quality following. It's not all about numbers, and I think I've said this before. You can have someone who has 100,000 followers and great views, but when you look at whether people actually trust their advice or trust what they're saying or actually buy products based on their recommendation, you'll find that there are very few people. And you can have someone who has 5,000 followers, but they have such an influence that when they say something is good, people trust them, and they will, you know, many of them will actually go out and buy that thing. So that's what you have to focus on, and establishing yourself as an expert in a certain niche will definitely help you to have that quality when it comes to followers, to have that influence. So also when you're collaborating with brands, you have to know what you're selling. What are you giving a brand? And it doesn't just have to be a following. It doesn't have to be a following. When you, okay, how do I explain this? So a following can be one of the things you're offering a brand. You could tell a brand, look, I have this big engaged following. They take my recommendations. So if I love your product and I recommend it to them, then I know they're going to buy the product. So you could offer following, but more than that, they're looking for engagement. Engagement just shows whether people are engaging with your content or not. So they look at your comments, you know, are people asking about the kind of content you're putting out? Are you having like good back and forth with your followers? Are they asking more questions? Do they want to know more? Because that shows they're engaging with your content. You know, how many likes do you have on posts? Because again, it shows that people are enjoying what you're putting out. And if they're enjoying what you're putting out, then most likely when you collaborate with a brand and create content for them, then they'll enjoy that too. So yeah, and again, quality when it comes to engagement. You don't, not like, you can have 1,000 comments, but they're all people saying you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful, oh my god, you're so beautiful, love your earrings, love this, but no one is actually asking any questions to do with your content, which shows that have they really related with your content and engaged with your content, or were they just, I don't know, looking at you throughout the video. Yeah, so you can also, am I in focus? I hope so. You can also try, which is a bit tricky, it's something I still struggle with, but you can try and calculate about how many people you'll get to buy a certain product through talking about it or recommending it. I think you can do that just by how many inquiries you get, how much interest you generate in a product. So for example, if you collaborate with a brand selling lipstick that's, let's say, 1,000 bob. So if you have, let's say, 1,000 followers and you're able to get the interest, pick the interest of maybe 300 of those 1,000 followers. Interest means, you know, they're asking more, they want to know more, or they like the lipstick, they're engaging with your content and stuff. And of those 300, maybe you get 100 of them to buy the product. Those 300, eventually when they want to buy a lipstick, they'll think back at that, and of those 300, 100 of them maybe will buy soon. So you'll have made a brand about 100,000 bob, and way more in the long run, like from those other 200 who eventually buy. Gosh, I hope I'm making sense. So you kind of have to be able to try and make those calculations in your head. I was watching a video where this YouTube drama of, you know, the beauty community and stuff, and how people charge $150,000 for one video. That's a lot of money. But then someone said, if you're collaborating with someone who's making your brand $1 million, you know, through that brand collaboration, then what's $150,000 really and honestly? So you have to be able to think like that. When I collaborate with a brand, what value am I giving this brand? It can be monetary, it can be not monetary, but what value are you giving this brand, and what do you deserve from that? If you're making a brand 100,000 shillings, what do you think you deserve out of that? Which is where, of course, also the costs you've taken in creating your content come in, the work you've put in, and all that comes in. Okay, I think also when you're negotiating with brands, one of the best the best advice I ever got was to be ready to walk away. This I still struggle with to date. Especially when you're starting, you kind of feel as if a brand is doing you a favor by working with you, but let me tell you something, they are not doing you a favor. It's a win-win situation. Okay, they're paying you because they know that they're getting something out of it. So be ready to walk away. It can either be a win-win where you both win, which is very ideal. It can be a win-lose where one of you is losing. It can be a lose-lose where you're both losing, or it can be no deal. So just work with win-win or no deal, because anything else is just, it's not good enough. Be ready to walk away. And this is something I struggle with to date. And also the knowing your value and what you're offering, I still struggle with to date, and I probably still undercharge quite a bit. I'm also still learning. But there was one campaign I worked on, and one of the influencers, like, she knew her worth, she knew what she couldn't go below. Like, she had set her standard and said, I can't go below this price. And her price was high, and what the brand was willing to offer her was still high. I was like, take it. But she was like, no, and she actually walked away from the campaign. And I was like, that is what I aspire to be. You have to set a standard and say, I can't take anything less than this. Anything less than this is insulting, and you just stick to that. You stick to that no matter what. It's something that will definitely take a lot of practice. Like, for sure, it will take a lot of practice. Yeah, I think now I should get into the questions, because I've already been talking for like 15 minutes. Okay, so one of the questions was how to approach brands. So if you've done like most of these things I've talked about, you've established yourself in a certain niche, you have, you feel that you have influence, you can see that you have influence and people actually listen to you, then you can start approaching brands. I've also gotten questions of people asking me what brands they should approach. Now, you see, if you've established yourself in a certain niche, then you know what brands to approach. If you've not, then you don't know. In which case, then a brand would also be skeptical working with you, because they're like, who are you talking to? I do makeup, and everyone who subscribed to my channel, more or less, majority, they know that, and they follow me for that. So if I'm collaborating with a beauty brand, then they know I have access to their target market. But if you're doing everything, then how can a brand be sure of what you're giving them or who you're even communicating to? So once you have that niche, you can be able to write down a list of potential brands who you think would be in line with your own brand or with your own community. So if you do travel, then you can write a list of hotels that you'd want to collaborate with, tour and travel companies you'd want to collaborate with. Make that list, and then the next thing is to, actually the best way to get brands to know who you are is not even to communicate with them at all, because which is something I've realized in the past few months, but rather it's to create content already with their products. You have to spend money to make money. So you have to be willing to purchase those products. First of all, they have to be a brand that you actually believe in and love. You always have to maintain that trust with your followers. And it also has to be a product that you have some experience with. So for you to get the attention of a brand, I say buy their products. If you do beauty and you want to work with a certain brand, buy their products, create content with their products, tag them, you know, send them a message and say, hey, I love this product, feel free to use this piece of content in your nini, such that when it comes time for you to approach this brand, then they already know who you are and they know what you can offer them. So it's not like, oh, who are you? No. It's like, yeah, you know, they're open to having a conversation on a collaboration. So you have to be willing to spend money in order to make money. So that's one way to approach brands. Get their attention by creating content for them, and then from there you can open a conversation, start talking with them through DM, and you know, get the email. From there you can be able to get the email of someone who deals with marketing or whatever, someone relevant, and then, you know, start talking to them slowly by slowly. But the worst thing you can do, I think, in approaching brands is just find an email for a certain brand that you want to work with and then jump right into it and be like, hi, my name is so and so and I want to collaborate with you. They'll be like, actually they'll ignore you. And believe me, I have done this so many times. So many, like all the things I'm telling you not to do, I have done them several times. So the worst thing you can do is get the email of a brand you want to work with and then immediately blast them and say, hi, my name is this and this, here's a link to my channel, I want to collaborate with you, please find attached a proposal. That's like, they don't even know you, you know, and you're already just in their face. So if you want to open communication with a brand, I say you take it slow. You know, it's like dating, guys. On the first date, you don't propose marriage to someone. You don't do that. You know, you get to know them, they get to know you. If you, the first time you're communicating, you're already you know, asking to collaborate, then that puts someone off. It puts someone off and you won't get responses. Take it from me, I have been ignored several times because of doing this. Okay, and one of the ways you can get contacts of people, relevant people, is through networking, through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is such a good resource. It's a really good resource. You can be able to get emails of relevant people in marketing, with the brands that you want to work with. LinkedIn. Yeah, when I say networking, I mean go to these events like Koroga Festival. Get to know who are the sponsors of these events. You'll see there, let's say Safaricom, Coke, these are just random brands, and maybe you see some there that you would actually want to work with. Go for the event, not to enjoy yourself, but to actually get to see if there might be people from these brands who, you know, can actually, you can connect with, get their card, and then now start the communication. Okay, so someone also asks here, do you get paid or you get free brand items as payment? When I first started, I used to take free products, and then that was it. That I felt like that they were doing me a huge favor by giving me free products. But I don't do that anymore because I've come to know how, you know, my worth. When I recommend something, people are listening. And if you give me a product worth 1,500 and I get even, let's say, 20 people to buy your product, I'm the loser. Okay, I am the loser there, because you will make money off me and you've given me a product worth 1,500. So yeah, but I think people have to pay their dues at the beginning. You'll do some free brand collaborations in the beginning, and I think that's okay. That's just paying your dues. Yeah, a piece of advice I actually got is that you can collaborate with a brand for free, but you have to be getting something out of it. So if a big brand approaches you, and you know you're young in this game and you're not sure how to go about it, and they say, hey, we'll give you this free product, just create content about it, and it's actually a big brand, you know, that has some muscle behind it. Someone once, sorry, my camera cut me off. So someone once gave me the advice of, you can collaborate with a brand for free if it's giving you something. So let's say it's a big brand that, you know, when you collaborate with them, even if you're not getting compensation, monetary compensation, when you go to another brand to approach them and say, yeah, so I've worked with these people, and they're like, okay, you know, they like take you a bit more seriously, because they see if other brands can work with you, then there's something here, we can definitely work with you as well. Okay, how do you write proposals for brand collaborations? The first thing I would say, by the time you're hitting a brand with a proposal, you've been talking with them for some time, you've interacted with their product, you know, they've seen what you can do, you've got their attention. I think I've talked about all that. And then, you know, you've talked and said, yeah, would you be interested in a collaboration? You've talked about that. And then is when, you know, you say, I've prepared a proposal, maybe you can have a look and see how we can, you know, work together. Or rather, I've included in the proposal how I feel we can work together. The first thing when you're writing a proposal, don't talk about yourself. Don't talk about yourself. As a brand, a brand doesn't care what they can do for you. They only care what you can do for them. So your proposal has to be all about that. If your proposal is saying how it would be an honor to work with you, I love your products, it will really be good for my channel to work with you, it will really boost me and promote me, someone switches off. You have to show them the value that you're bringing to them. You know, are you going to increase our sales? Are you going to increase our brand awareness? Are you going to, you know, what are you going to do for us? That's what a brand wants to see. That's it. So that's the main thing. I know there's the technical part of the proposals in terms of format and stuff, and if you guys would want me to go like deep into that, then you can just let me know in the comments so that I do a whole video on the, or I'll probably do it because I really want this topic to be in depth. How do you price yourself? I think I've talked about that, and there are also tools online that can help you price yourself according to followers. But like I said, that's not, you have to also know the kind of influence you have, because someone can have the exact same number of followers as you, but you have way more influence than they do. So you also have to be able to factor that in. And I watched a video that said once you've come up with a price that you think is appropriate for the kind of influence you have or the kind of value you're giving to a brand, multiply by 2 and add tax. Because we always underprice ourselves, especially women, we always underprice ourselves, because a man will set a price for himself. He will have no issue presenting that kind of a price to a brand, but you as a woman, or we as women, sometimes we feel maybe that's too much, or if it's too high, maybe they won't want to work with me, I might lose it and stuff. No. Set your price, and because we know that we are going to underprice ourselves, multiply by 2 and add tax. Who do you as an influencer communicate with? Let's say if it's a big company. I think I've kind of explained this a little bit. Make use of the Instagram DMs of a brand, but that's only when you have something concrete, you know, when you're showing them that, you know, you've used their products, or showing them what you can offer them. And then that way it will be much easier for you to open a line of communication with them, either on DM, like if you tag them on a post, and then from there it can graduate to an email and a phone number, like dating, guys, like dating. Take it slow. How How do you know which brands to target? I think I've talked about this. If you've established yourself in a particular niche, then it's going to be very easy for you to know what kind of brands to target. So for me, makeup, I started off doing makeup. So when I started working with brands, I made a list to know what kind of brands would be in line with my own brand and my own content. So makeup brands, makeup retailers, people who sell makeup, salons, you know, all that stuff, skincare companies, etc, etc. Okay guys, I have to go to church, but I will be back to continue answering all these questions. All right guys, I am back. Back from church, not even sure where I left off, but I think I should just kind of I even wrote some notes like on my way to church. So yes, in terms of how to price yourself, I don't know how much I had touched, I've already forgotten. There can be bundle pricing, or you price per post. So bundle pricing is where you give a brand like an overall rate, like it's a more long-term collaboration, which is what I prefer to do, because when you do just one post, the brand may not get as much value from you just doing one post. But if you're constantly doing posts, you know, a selected or an agreed upon number of posts every single month, then I think a brand gets more value out of that, and then you're able to charge monthly. This is one of the ways that I've been able to make my income more steady, because if it's per post, then you end up not having a steady income. You know, one post is sponsored here, another one there. But if it's you're working more long term with a brand, then you're able to get something every single month for the duration of the time you're working together. Yeah, so in terms of pricing yourself, I think this video has been a bit confused because I had a lot of content cutting across so many different topics. So I think I'm going to make a separate video on creating proposals and another one on how to price yourself. But briefly, I know there are websites and apps that can help you based on the number of followers and your engagement to know how much to charge. Something else is to talk with other influencers, especially if you're on a campaign together. I have been on campaigns before where I am being paid less or more than other influencers who are in the same around the same category as I am, and it's really unfair when you find out, especially being on the less side, when you find out the other influencers were able to negotiate a better rate for themselves and you are just left there, so you're earning less for doing the same work. So if you're on a campaign with other influencers, talk amongst yourselves, just talk, so that you're even able to present a united front, and so that no one gets shortchanged within that campaign. And even if you're not working on a campaign together, I still do suggest to talk with influencers who are in your niche or in your area, because they're like micro influencers and there are tiers, like tier 1, tier 2 influencers. So talk with people who are in the same category as you, get to know how much they're charging. Hopefully they'll be open to share with you. Most of the times people are open. Sometimes it's that you don't ask, and you find people saying, oh, people in the industry are so rude, they don't even want to share info. But have you asked? If you ask, I think people can, even if they don't tell you exactly how much they're earning, they can still guide you. Then I also got questions in terms of the actual brand collaboration itself. You know, once you've ironed out the details, I'm going to say this on this issue. When a brand is working with you and has agreed to work with you, they know your value and they know what you're bringing to the table, and they're working with you because you're you. They're not working with another person, they are working with you. You have your own communication style, you know what your audience likes. So don't compromise how you create your content or how you talk to your audience for a brand. Don't do it. I did it. I did it. In fact, if you guys have been here for a long time, one of my first ever brand collaborations was with Mikala, and I did the most. You know, I was like, Mikala, 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 Mikala. It came off as so sponsored, and the products I love. In fact, I still recommend them to date because they're products I love. But in that video, maybe people got the sense that, oh, she's just been paid, maybe she doesn't even use the product. So what I'm saying is, especially at the beginning, when you're in that stage where you feel, oh, our brand is doing you a favor, which they're not, you can tend to overdo it and change your communication style to suit what you think a brand wants. So you overdo it. You know, you're promoting something and you're just like, this thing, this, yeah, so this thing, you know, too much. You have to be able to create content for a brand that's in line with how you already talk to your audience. I hope that makes sense. That's really important, because when you're overselling a product or doing a sponsored content in such a way that it's just so different from how you usually are, then people get the sense that you're not being honest and you're not being genuine. And I get how when you're working with a brand, you feel like you have to do that, but you really don't. Some brands try to specify how you should communicate to the audience, and I personally have turned down brands who think or who want to script and tell me exactly what to say in a post. And I tell them, look here, I've built this, these are my people, I know how to reach them, and when you came to me or when you agreed to work with me, then you knew my style. Okay, so don't try to give me a script and tell me to talk to my audience in such a way. So set your standards and don't be willing to compromise or change your content your content for a brand. Yeah, so just always maintain your style. A brand is working with you because you are you. I still have more questions, but more or less I think that I've answered them in general. Honestly, this I guess has just ended up being more of an introductory video, because I feel like I've touched on so many other things. People are also asking about how to do a rate card, which is why I'm saying I think I'll do more videos and get more technical, maybe involve other influencers, because how I do my rate card may not resonate with you. But you know what, because I remember even me when I was starting out, I wanted to know exactly how to do the proposal. You know, what do I actually write in the proposal? How do I start? What needs to be in it? So I'm going to do more of that. Even the rate card, you know, how is it supposed to look? You know, so I'm definitely going to do more on that. This video is already so long, but I really hope you've gained something from it. Leave any more questions you have. I think the next video I'll probably do is more on how to price yourself, how to write your rate card and all that. So you guys can ask me any questions you have to do with that. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and more than that is that I hope it's been really helpful. If you have questions, just put them down below and I will answer them. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.